Hello everyone, Abhinav this side from Yuvaan Gurukul. First, I would like to start with introducing our organization. Yuvaan Gurukul is managed by Yuvaan Research and Educational Trust, and we are a public charitable trust. We are NGO, and we work in three different fields. First one is we work on teacher training. We provide teacher training. We collaborate with schools for offline trainings also, and we also offer some online trainings. We conduct online webinars. Most of the webinars that we conduct during summer vacations and winter vacation. This is just the first webinar for this winter vacation session. And the second part of our organization is research. So we do research that is based on educational excellence, and secondly, the research that is based on health and wellness. So we run our own research portal as well as we publish research on different research portals also. And third part is we run one offline institute. We are establishing one offline institute near Mokampur Haridwar Road. It's near IIP, Indian Institute of Petroleum, and Mall of Dehradun. So we are starting one offline institute also from the month of April. And right now we are running one online institution in which we help students regarding their CBSE exams, regarding CUET exam, and other exams, competitive and non-competitive. So there are three parts of the organization. And if you have any question about what our organization do, how we work, please ask. And there are also some volunteer opportunities in which teachers can participate in research. Teachers can participate in programs where we teach students with special needs and all. So if you have any question, please you can comment on the comment box, the message box. Now let me just introduce Ms.Mamta Kalra. Ms. Mamta, she is right now leading activities. She is activity coordinator, head of activities at Doon International School, Riverside Campus. DIS Riverside Campus, it's a co-ed boarding school and it is rated among the top 15 schools in India. Mamta Kalra, she is expert in commerce subjects, business studies and economics, as well as she is expert in teaching English also. She has more than 20 years of experience, and today she is with us to share some insights about how to enhance teaching career and how to grow as a teacher. So, Mamta ma'am, please present yourself and present the start the presentation. Ma'am, please unmute your mic. Your mic is on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Abhinav, and thank you, Yuvaan Group, for giving this opportunity. I hope I'm audible to everyone now. Am I audible? Good
Yes, ma'am.
evening,
Yes, ma'am.
everyone. Yeah, good evening, everyone, and thank you for this introduction, Abhinav sir. It's been great associating with you, and welcome everyone to this session. I'll try my best to give you all the insights into the teaching career and the growth opportunities available in India and abroad, and how to tackle the interviews and various things we're going to discuss today. So, shall we start?
Yes, ma'am, we can
Can
start.
we start?
Yes, ma'am, we can start. There are a
Okay,
few more participants. They will join. We can start.
sure. Okay. So today's topic, we've taken effective strategies for thriving in teaching. Uh, Many of us are aspiring teachers, many of us are seasoned teachers. So everybody is facing this competition these days, whether we are the seasoned teachers or whether we are aspiring teachers. The aspiring teachers definitely want to get into line, and the seasoned teachers want to become more and more energetic and active these days, because the competition is with the young ones. So it becomes really difficult to compete with the young ones, because young ones are always full of fresh ideas and their own innovations in different kind of, they are associated with different kind of technologies and so many things. So it becomes really difficult for the seasoned teachers to compete with the young ones. But whether, on the other side, the young ones think that it is difficult to compete with the seasoned teachers. So both are, struggling in some or the other way. So today's agenda of this webinar, we're going to learn about effective pre-teaching strategies. Then, if you think about pre-teaching strategies, many of you might be knowing about them. Few of you might not be knowing about them. It covers up the lesson planning, how to tackle the management of the class, how to deal with the students. So all these things we're going to see. Then second point we're going to discuss is turning teaching related challenges into growth opportunities. Okay, I understand that we think that we need to complete our B.Ed and then we can enter into the teaching field. No, that's not enough. Many things, in line would be turning up as obstacles in the way of teaching. So you need to know what would be the obstacles and how you can turn those obstacles into your growth opportunities. Third point, what we would be discussing is managing stress to foster a positive classroom environment. Whether it is a teacher or a student, stress level has to be controlled in one's life. Then only you can lead a positive environment around you and inside you, I would say. In your brain, physically and mentally, you have to be strong to face the challenges which are upcoming. Fourth thing which we would be discussing will be building a supportive and collaborative community among educators and students. Until and unless you're tied up with your children, until and unless you're collaborative with the parents or the teaching community, trust me, friends, you cannot survive. May it be teaching line, may it be management line, may it be business line, any sort of profession requires this collaboration. So you need to understand which are the communities you need to collaborate with. So, and the fourth thing would be how to face the interviews. I hope the agenda is quite clear to everyone, and you would be with me till the end of the session so that you can learn more, and I would also get chance to learn from you people. So let's start. Today's ideology. What is the ideology these days? What do people believe? People believe that hire freshers and people with career break. So people who are taking career break, it is said that they are more enthusiastic, they are more energetic. उन लोग में ज़्यादा energy होती है और वो लोग बहुत they are full of fresh ideas and they have the crazy hunger to learn and contribute and prove. So what about the seasons one? Like हम लोग जो लीग में काम करते रहते हैं सालों साल 20 साल 25 साल 50 साल हम काम कर रहे हैं, तो हम लोग में क्या प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है? Why aren't we able to understand and why aren't we able to get that thing what freshers have? जो यूथ के पास है वो हम जो 50 साल से या 25 साल से काम कर रहे हैं वो हमारे पास क्यों नहीं है? So we're gonna learn about that also and how to become competent. So what do you have to do for that? Now please understand there are learning needs of everybody. जैसे हमें शुरू से सिखाया जाता है कि हमारी साइकोलॉजिकल नीड्स हैं, हमारी बेसिक नीड्स हैं, तो ये नीड्स क्या है और ये नीड्स कैसे सेटिस्फाई होंगी? एजुकेशन से रिलेशन अगर हम इसका करें इन नीड्स का, तो नीड्स बहुत बेसिक हैं. We know what the needs are. These 5 needs are very clear and everybody knows about these 5 needs. First is psychological needs, second is safety needs, love and belonging, esteem and self-actualization. But these needs are known, but we don't know how to connect it to the children or to connect it to the education. We need to learn that. So when you talk about psychological needs, basically we know about air, water, food, clothing, shelter. Everybody knows about this, right? But what about when it comes to the education sector? Now the child, if you talk about their psychological needs, they need to equip, they need to be equipped, they need the equipments. What are the equipments now? They need the hardwares, they need the laptops, they need the smartphones. This era, if you talk about this era, this is we call Gen Zs, and the next generation which is coming up is the Alpha generation. This is what we say, that the Alpha generation is going to be far more beyond what we think. So when we know that alpha generation is going to be like this, we need to understand the psychological need of the children, that if you tell them that not to use the technology, it's going to be impossible for us to learn, to make them learn, or to make them understand what we think. So first, if you link the learning needs, psychological needs, you need to fulfill their equipment needs. And equipments are hardware, laptops, and smartphones. Second need is safety need. When we talk about basic safety needs, they are personal security and resources. You can also talk about employment needs. They also come under safety needs also. Wherever, whatever makes us feel secure are our safety needs. How would you link it to the children, or to the academics, or to the education field? The child needs a quiet and calm environment, one thing. Second is lack of distractions. Now, if you talk about the distractions these days, you can list them on your fingers, the types of distractions the children have. So the distractions are major, and you need to provide an environment which would fulfill which would fill the mind of the child in such a way that the child feels safe, the child feels secure, the child feels protected. So that sort of environment needs to be created. Now, why am I telling you all these things? ये सब चीजें मैं आपको क्यों बता रही हूँ? टीचर होना सिर्फ पढ़ाने से लिंक नहीं है. इट इज नॉट दैट कि अब पहले वाला जमाना नहीं रहा कि डस्टर और चौक उठाओ और क्लास में चले जाओ. It's not possible to be with that mindset. Please trust me, it's really not possible. When I started my teaching career in 2007, it was I started teaching on a temporary basis. I joined for 2 hours. I joined a school only, but just for 2 hours. मैं 2 घंटे के लिए जाती थी अपना सब्जेक्ट पढ़ाकर. I used to come back. But now when I compare, it is not same. It is not same at all. You need to understand the child. You need to understand so many things that it becomes really difficult for a teacher to cope up with the changing environment. So this environment which is calm, which is quiet, which is lack of distraction, is not only to be created for a teacher but also for a child. Third need which comes is love and belonging. Now, where do you get this love and belonging from? भाई आप अपना किसको फील करते हो? आपके फ्रेंड्स होते हैं, आपके रिलेटिव्स होते हैं जिनसे आप इंटीमेसी फील करते हो, आपकी फैमिली होती है. Love belonging can be, it can be discussed in broader aspects, but for today's session, let's concentrate on friendship, intimacy, and family. So how would the child or a person who's getting into this field would feel this love and belonging? Now there it has to be linked to a community and interactions. Now interaction, when you talk about interaction, student to student interaction has to be promoted. Student to teacher interaction has to be promoted. So these two types of communication, of course, communication is a two-way process, right? Student talking to himself cannot help. Teacher talking to herself or himself cannot help. So this two-way communication is required. Next learning need, or if I say the need which is listed here, is esteem. Everyone has some sort of self-respect needs. Everyone feels that one has to be respected. One who doesn't feel that need of somebody's worth or value would not like to stay there. So this respect, self-esteem, and status need has to be fulfilled. How would you fulfill in this field? This field, you have to concentrate on self-reliance. It has to be autonomous learning, problem solving environment, critical thinking. You can say you have to create an environment which would allow the children to think on themselves. Then only they would be able to rely on themselves, and they would feel their esteem, their respect, their status. They would be able to evaluate their status. Next need is self-actualization, desire to become the most one can be. Now, if I want to prove myself somewhere, I need to show my value to that community or to that group of people. So how would you create that? For that, of course, you need to fulfill the creativity among the children. You have to deal with the mindset of the children. You have to deal with the way they think, the way they do, and the way they present. So how would you see that? You need to give them certain assignments. There'll be certain activities, there'll be certain projects through which they will be presenting themselves. Through these projects, assignments, and activities, you can evaluate their creativity. And when you rate them, when you grade them, there where they feel the self actualization, they know that they stand where. This is how you fulfill the learning needs of the children. Now, after discussing the learning needs, I would definitely like to throw some light on effective pre-teaching strategies. First one, I had also listed this in agenda, so I'll be discussing these things in detail here. First is setting clear goals and objectives. Like I said, that the days are not same. You can't be taking duster and chalk and move to class and just start teaching anything and everything. You need to. There are certain pre-activities for teachers also. It,
Ma'am, can you check the PPT is not moving? It's on first page.
oh, is that so? Is it visible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, now it's visible.
Okay, great. Okay, so I was talking about pre-teaching strategies. The first one, setting clear goals and objectives. Uh, Before moving into a class, teacher also has certain things to do. Uh, like you're taught in B.Ed, the pedagogical needs, the assignments you're given, the internship you're given. There you're taught to set up your clear goals and objectives. But we notice that everything is on paper. When we come to the real world, or when we come to the real self, we don't get into those practices. But believe me, from the new rules of NEP, from what CBSE, ICSE has given now, the agenda, what they have given for boards, it's completely different. The teaching has changed completely. So you need to set those clear goals, may not be on paper, but if you jot down the things on in a diary, that will surely help you. The objectives have to be very clear when you set aside your goals. What you support, what are these goals? When I say goals, what are these goals? Now, when you enter the class, आप कैसे उनको ग्रीट करोगे, दैट इज वन ऑफ द गोल. आप अपने आप को कैसे प्रेजेंट करोगे, दैट इज वन ऑफ द गोल. Then after that comes, what are you going to teach? You can't enter the class and start teaching immediately. It's not possible. You can't say good morning class or good afternoon class, I'll be taking this lesson on board. You write the topic and you start off. No, it's not possible these days. Children will not listen to you. Children will not bother that what are you saying. They see, the tuitions are available, the coaching centers are available, the students, if you talk about, I'm working in a boarding school, a partial boarding school where day boarders are also there. Major, there are times when day boarders are completely on leave. Because we know that they have tuitions. Why would they be bothered to come to school? And top of that, if you start teaching, like if the teachers are like that, they enter the class and they just start teaching, it becomes really difficult for us to manage or to coordinate and cooperate with the children. So you need to set clear goals before you enter the class, that how you're going to deal the class, how you're going to manage your class, how you're going to start your lessons, how you're going to make it active, active learning possible in your class. So these objectives have to be listed properly, in not in a chart paper, but you should maintain a diary to set these goals clear. Second point, if you talk about the strategy, developing comprehensive lesson plans. Now, many of you might be seasoned teachers here. I'm not sure, because uh, I hardly know anyone from the group except Mr. Abhinav. So the lesson plans have to be very comprehensive. What are lesson plans? One portion of lesson, which portion of lesson you're going to take, what is the objective behind teaching that lesson, what is the what are the children going to learn. Third thing, fourth thing would be how you're going to teach, what are the methods you're going to use while teaching those lessons. And next would be what the students have gained, and how the assignments are to be given. That has to be your lesson plan. Because if you don't list that out, you won't be be knowing how much part of the syllabus has to be completed in a 45 or 40 minutes of class. So these lesson plans are very important, but they have to be very comprehensive, covering all the needs of the children. Next would be preparing engaging materials and resources. Now, we have been attending many webinars, many seminars, I would say, in school. Many teams are coming up to train the teachers. This teacher training is very important. There we are taught that how to make your class active, what materials and resources you should be using to keep your class active. Now, these materials can be a group discussion material. These materials can be a pair session. It can be a kind of game. Can be a kind of debate. It can be anything based on the subject you're teaching, based on the topic you're teaching. So these materials have to be prepared based on the chapter you're gonna teach. It can be even the material or resource can also be a visit to some sort of maybe factory or to a company or to market or to a bank to make them equipped with the knowledge what is covered in the book. No one is interested to read the books. Books पढ़कर कोई महान नहीं बन गया. We also know the practical knowledge is important, isn't it? So reading only cannot facilitate learning. It has to be associated with practical knowledge. So how are you gonna associate those practical things in your teaching? That is very important. Next, and the last key teaching strategy, what I'm going to talk about is a positive classroom environment. And this is very important. Now, when you enter a class, you would find different categories of children. कुछ बहुत notorious होंगे, कुछ बहुत talkative होंगे, कुछ होंगे जो बिल्कुल silent होंगे, और कुछ होंगे जो बहुत inquisitive होंगे. अब आउट ऑफ दीज फोर कैटेगरीज, जब चारों कैटेगरीज में क्लैश हो रहा है और there is lot of negativity about some certain group of children, that these children are very notorious, they don't allow us to teach, या फिर आप किसी gloomy mood में enter हो गए हो, like you are not into mood of teaching and you've carried your एक तो सबसे बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये आती है कि आपकी प्रोफेशनल और पर्सनल लाइफ को आपको अलग रखना है, बिल्कुल अलग रखना है. आप चाहे 100 चीजों के साथ रो रहे होंगे अंदर, बट आपको एक हंसते हुए आपको क्लास में जाना है. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू क्रिएट दिस पॉजिटिव क्लासरूम एनवायरनमेंट. First impression is teacher's impression, then rest of the things depend upon the children. So a teacher has to be very much presentable, and very much a teacher is very much responsible to create this positive classroom environment for sure. So these are the pre-teaching strategies. I would list them in short again. The goals have to be very clear. The lesson plan has to be comprehensive. The material or the resources you plan are have to be very engaging so that children do not waste time. Everybody's time is very precious and they should get something. The output should be very comprehensive. And the last one definitely is a positive classroom environment. This is the last point, but this is the first point which would facilitate positive learning in your class. Now, there are certain myths about teaching. Uh, ऐसा कहा जाता है, everybody, is it fine if I talk in English, Hindi, both? I hope everybody is comfortable.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Oh, thank you so much. Let's make it interactive. You can ask questions in between also. If you don't understand, you can ask me. There's no problem in that. सिर्फ मैं बोलती रहूं, it's talking to screen. It's like that. Okay. So there are three myths. हम सबने सुना होगा कि teaching जिनको कुछ नहीं करना होता ना वो टीचर बन जाते हैं. ऐसा ऐसा हम सबने सुना होगा. But that's not the reality. There are some passionate teachers. Okay, I understand that with education, after completing your graduation, you get into B.Ed and you find getting into teaching is very easy. But those were the days, I would say, gone are the days, I should say. वो दिन चले गए हैं अभी. It is not like that. B.Ed itself has become a challenge for the students who are doing it. एक साल में जो बीएड कंप्लीट होता था, अभी 2 साल का प्रोफेशनल कोर्स, और अभी आगे जाकर पूरा डिग्री कोर्स होने वाला है, वो 4 years कोर्स. So it's not easy, and the myths about teaching is, first myth is anyone can teach. If anyone can teach, then everyone can become teacher. but that's not possible. It's completely wrong. The idea is not right at all. you know हम छोटी सी एक चीज ऑर्गेनाइज करने की कोशिश अगर करें तो उसके पीछे कितने एफर्ट्स लगते हैं. जैसे मैंने यहाँ पर लिस्ट कर रखा है एक एग्जाम्पल कि हम एक बर्थडे पार्टी भी अगर ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं तो उसके पीछे एक हफ्ते की मेहनत लगती है. Teaching is similar. It's not possible to for everybody and anybody to teach. Uh, a teacher is not only a teacher in class. A teacher has to do multiple things. Anchoring भी करनी है, debate भी कराना है, dance भी कराना है, annual day भी कराना है, और बहुत सारी इंटर स्कूल्स में भी जाना है. देयर आर 101 थिंग्स. तो टीचर को तो दुर्गा बना दो, मतलब 8 हाथ है उसके, सब कुछ कर सकती है टीचर. या फिर कोई अगर मेल कैरेक्टर लिस्टेड हो तो प्लीज, रावण तो नहीं बोलूंगी 10 मुंह वाला. तो इट्स जस्ट लाइक दैट. So it's a wrong thing to say that anyone can teach. A teacher. Today only I was, somebody said that spoken skills are the base, the foundation of your career. It's the way you present yourself. It's the way you talk to people. Is the basic thing you require to build up your career. So this is a myth that anyone can teach. The person has to be presentable. The person has to be well spoken. The person has to be a mannerism person. So anyone can't teach. That's a myth. Second myth is teacher preparation is not of much use. Now just imagine, uh, यू आर अ सीजन टीचर. सपोज आप बहुत सालों से पढ़ा रहे हो, आप क्लासेस पढ़ा रहे हो 8 9 10, और ऑल ऑफ अ सडन आपको मैनेजमेंट ने क्लास 11 दे दी है, और आप सोचते हो कि आपने 8 9 10 पढ़ा है तो 11 तो आप बहुत इजीली पढ़ा लोगे. नो माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, it's completely wrong. Until and unless you prepare your lessons, even if you have taught the lesson for 101 times, there will be something new you will be discovering, or a method you would be discovering to explain to children. हर दिन हम कुछ नई डिस्कवरी करते हैं. तो बिना प्रिपरेशन कभी भी क्लास में यू कैन नॉट एंटर. इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल. सो प्लीज रिमेंबर दैट प्रिपरेशन इज डेफिनेटली रिक्वायर्ड. You might be a seasoned teacher, you might be a fresher. Preparations are most useful. I would not say they are least useful, they are most useful. And the third myth about teaching is teachers don't work hard enough. Okay, so MNC's work time is 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, but ours WhatsApp is on 24/7. We are restricted to use phones in these schools, but still the all the messages and everything is 24/7 on WhatsApp. So anyone who's not checking the WhatsApp is getting the, you can understand what the person might be getting from the management. So it's a myth again. The third myth, what I've listed in my slide, is teachers don't work hard enough. Teachers have to work very hard to survive in the line, to compete with the colleagues, to be in the trend, to compete with the children, and to be up to date. Technology is growing day by day, and for us to be in trend, we have to work really hard. COVID times, if you've not forgotten COVID times, my God, online teaching had become challenge to many of us. Like, we were not familiar with this Google Meet, we were not familiar with Skype, we were not familiar with Teams. But now the COVID, the pandemic has made us equipped us with so many things that now if a webinar has to be conducted, I'm talking to you people, I'm sitting at home and speaking. So teachers have to work, may it be online, may it be offline, to prepare lessons, to be in touch with children, to be in touch with parents. There are so many communities we are handling. We have to definitely work hours and hours in the school, after school, before school. We are working 24/7. So these myths have to be dealt seriously. If you find anyone telling you that anyone can teach, please reply to them. Let's arrange a party and you take the arrangement in your hand. Now visualize how you do it and how difficult it becomes for you to deal with the situation. Do you agree with me what I'm saying? I hope we are there on the same page. Everyone there?
Please feel free to ask any question, or you can also type. You can also type in this chat box.
Yes, definitely. I would love to take questions. If anyone has any question, please feel free to ask. Okay, friends, next we're going to talk about classroom management. Classroom management becomes really difficult. I told you about four groups, right? If you have those four types of children in your class and you are a fresher or a seasoned teacher, that classroom management becomes a tedious task for anyone and everyone. Now, this can be said definitely that classroom management is not in hands of everyone. Okay, not even in hands of seasoned teachers. It becomes a challenge for everyone. So you should know how to, and you should know three things. One is how many kinds of teachers are there? Second, how many types of children are there? And third is the way to deal different types of children. Okay, so it's not about being the boss. One thing you should know that gabbar ban ke kaam nahi hoga. You can't be boss all the time. It's about creating an environment where students can learn and grow. So the class has to be interactive. They should be talking to you. The teacher should be talking to children. The children should be talking to teacher. Now, see, when I enter my class, I tell them one thing. There's one rule of the class. I'm not boss of the class, but there's one rule. When I talk, you listen. When you talk, I listen. That is the rule of the class. So children understand that when ma'am is speaking, we are not supposed to speak. They are supposed to raise their hands if they have questions. They can ask questions anytime. They can ask me multiple times to explain certain things. But while I'm talking, they are to be patient. And when they are talking, I have to listen to them patiently. That's the rule of my class. Now, see, that that uh, that era, no, again I would say that the teacher is in the center and the children are at the wings. That has gone. You can't be standing at the center and you can ask your children to be at the wings. No, not possible. वो साइड में खड़े होकर तमाशा नहीं देख सकते कि एक डमरू बजा रहा है and everybody is dancing to the tune. No, it's not possible. So don't control but try to guide them. Everybody likes to be guided but not controlled. आप अपना ही एग्जाम्पल ले लीजिए. आपको कोई गाइड करेगा, सजेशन देगा, आप उसको सुनेंगे. पर अगर कोई आपको कंट्रोल करने की, आपकी लाइफ को कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, आप बोलोगे प्लीज mend your own ways, don't try to mend my ways. So the children have बचपन से बचपन के वो बचपन दिखता नहीं आजकल बच्चों में. बच्चे ऑलरेडी मेच्योर बहुत कम एज में हो गए हैं आजकल. तो वो कंट्रोल पसंद करते ही नहीं है. they like to be guided but they can't be controlled. Next is allow inquisitiveness to flourish in the class. Let children ask questions. हम छोटे बच्चों को भी चुप करा देते हैं. आजकल हमें इतना पेशेंस ही नहीं है कि हम उन्हें सुन पाए. We tell them just keep quiet. I don't want to listen to you. No, that's not possible. You need to answer to the questions. They have so much inside their brain and heart that you can't keep them shut. So you need to allow that inquisitiveness in the class. Next is don't dictate but facilitate. Now, if you tell get up, sit down, they will not listen. You need to facilitate the things. You need to make them understand that you are no more a teacher. You are a facilitator, in fact. That's the term should be used for a teacher nowadays. Next is create a culture of respect and responsibility. चाहे छोटे हो चाहे बड़े हो, everybody demands that respect. And once you सबसे naughty बच्चे को आप responsibility दे दो class में, you would notice that that child would do it with utmost dedication. So create that culture of respect and responsibility in the class if you want to see your class flourish, if you want to see your children flourish in the class. I was telling you about the kinds of teachers. Now there are four types of teachers. There are authoritarian teachers, there are authoritative teachers, there are let me discuss and then when we shift the slide I'll tell you two more. So authoritarian teachers are the teachers who are the boss of the class, like we were talking, the boss of the classes. Okay, they give direct instructions and they don't allow their children to talk. No questions at all because they are talking. And they would say in Shakespearean language, if you say, let no dog bark when I'm speaking. So they don't allow their children to speak at all. They are not flexible at all. They are rigid to their attitude that if they are there in the class, there should be complete silence. बिल्कुल मौन धारण कर लो, वो वाला status ये लोग create कर देते हैं. इस टाइप के टीचर्स, अथॉरिटेरियन टीचर्स, दे कीप फुल अथॉरिटी इन द क्लास, एंड in their class the students would be sitting at one place. They are not allowed to change the position, they're not allowed to move in the class, they're not allowed to talk in the class. Zip block their mouth and they sit and they listen to the teacher. Do you think these type of teachers would have successful career for themselves? Do they sow the seeds that the plants would be flourishing? No, I'm so sorry, it will not happen because the generation itself does not allow that. Second type of teachers are the authoritative teachers. They keep control over the class, but they get highly involved with the students. They like to talk to children. They are strict teachers, but they talk to children. They allow the children to talk, to ask questions. They are firm but fair. They are very firm. I just like I said, they are strict, बहुत strict होते हैं, but fair होते हैं. वो बच्चों को neglect नहीं करते. They listen to children, and there's complete discipline in their class. They allow class discussion in a proper manner. बच्चों के साथ group discussions, individual reflections पे ये लोग focus करते हैं, and they allow the children to flourish in the class. And also the last one I have jotted down is positive feedback. They also take the assignments seriously. बच्चों के जो assignments ये लोग देते हैं उस पे वो बच्चों का negative और positive feedback बच्चों को देते हैं, so that they can understand their flaws and they can grow in future. So the two types of teachers, first one I discussed was authoritarian, and the second one was authoritative. Next category is of,
Ma'am, there is one question in the chat box. How can we
yeah,
deal as teachers with bullying children?
definitely, I would definitely come to that question. Bullying is a serious issue in colleges and in schools these days. See, if, as a teacher, even I face that as a challenge. You need to, communication is the best way. You need, if you talk to the victim, it's not going to help. If you talk to the person who's doing it, it's not going to help. It's a two-way process. I would say, calling both the children together and sorting out the things in front of them would surely help, making the child understand the background of the other child, why the child should not do. See, the child who's getting bullied can be mentally tortured from other factors also. So the one who's bullying should know the effects of that his bullying, or effects of his mocking at the other child. No one, everybody's IQ is at the same level, I would say. There are highly intelligent children, there are average children, there are poor children because of the lack of learning abilities. But all of them have IQ. So they would surely understand that they are not supposed to bully the other child based on these reasons. When you give reason, there's no question. So reasons have to be given. Child has to, has to understand, has to be made to understand that these are the reasons that you should not be doing this. Look at the impact on the other child. There are consequences of your actions. So once the child understands the consequences of his actions, he would surely, understand, and he will not do it again. I hope I've answered the question. Can I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So next type of teachers are permissive teachers. These are the most interesting kind of teachers, and children enjoy the most seeing these type of teachers. Why? Let me see. Let me tell you. Permissive type of teachers just shudder away from all the duties. They relax and sit in the class. They do not prepare their lessons. They do not have their lesson plans ready. They sit in the class. They would ask children to do anything and everything. Okay, complete your homework. Okay, you can read yourself. Okay, self study time. Okay, movie time. They'll play songs in the class. So children enjoy the most in their class, but these are not the appropriate teachers. They are, a blockage to their own career. They do not prosper in future. There are multiple complaints about these kind of teachers, and their class is never controlled. So permissive type of teaching is never encouraged, and these type of teachers never grow in their career. Fourth type of teachers are indulgent teachers. They indulge with the children for everything. Okay, their class cannot maintain order, there's less discipline in the class, but trust me, the children respect most of the children. I would respect such a type of teacher, because this teacher knows about the background of the children, which is most important these days to deal with the psychological problems of the children. These teachers are kind of psychiatrists for these students. These teachers prepare exciting lessons for the children, so children enjoy attending their lessons. These teachers would be sitting in groups with the children and discussing multiple things, including their personal and professional, with the children. So the children tend to become more close to these teachers, and they tend to share their mental and health problems with the teacher. Personal things also they start sharing. And these are the teachers who come to know about the basic problems of the child, and they are able to help the child to grow in this academics, to prosper in the academics, because they know the problem the child is facing. So four types of teachers are discussed here. Authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, and indulgent. Next is the strategies you should have to manage your class properly. Please emphasis on empathy. Foster empathy in your class. Respect, open communication. I've already told you the inquisitiveness should flourish in the class. It should not diminish in the class. Use the group activities, think, pair, and share, group discussions, and hand-on activities. Give certain there are children who are good at origami. There are children who are good at drawing. There are children who are good at discussing things. So divide in groups and let them flourish in whatever manner they want to discuss the chapter. Let flipped class happen. I hope everybody knows what flipped classrooms are. Let children teach in the class sometimes. Give them topics. You are supposed to teach this topic. Do your research and come to class. And this way you would notice that your class is managed in a superb way. आपको और कुछ करने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी जब सारे बच्चे आपके साथ इन्वॉल्व हो जाएंगे चीजों को करने के लिए. So I've downloaded a link for all of you to see. If I hope this would play. Let's see.
Ma'am, you can copy that link and paste in the chat box.
Is the screen not visible, sir?
Screen is visible, ma'am.
Okay.
Has the video started?
Should I start it?
Yes, ma'am. You can start it, but the video screen is not visible. We can see PPT only.
Okay, so we were discussing about the instructional strategies. Third one is critical thinking and problem solving. Now, how would you promote that in class? While you're giving instructions, as I told you, that it might not be possible for everybody to understand the same thing. So, you need to promote this critical thinking in your class. You need to give assignments, such assignments कि बच्चों को सोचने की जरूरत पड़े. They need to research on certain things. So this is very important. They should be able to deal with the problems themselves. So there has to be certain activities in the class that they know how to tackle the problem. If a question is given, suppose these days I'm teaching English, I have to give a practice question so that child is able to reflect on what he has learned based on the learning in the class. He is expected to write the answer, so he should be able to reflect what he has learned in the class. So this critical thinking and problem solving activities are very important in the class. You go on reading the lesson and you dictate the question answers in the class. That's not going to solve the problem. The child has to think himself and solve certain exercises, maybe in math or in physics. They have to attend to certain practical questions in the class, not at home, not as homework, in the class in front of teachers, so that they can understand it in a better way. Next is timely feedback and assessment.
Ma'am, we were on the previous slide. You just explained 2 points on the previous slide, and then third one you had to explain.
Yeah, I was explaining differentiated instructions, technology integration. I had already explained. I'm on the same
Actually, if you can just repeat that after that think, pair, and share. You shared something. If you can just tell those points.
I had shared one video, which
okay. So that will explain that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Feedback and assessment, we were talking about this. Now, many of us, what we do is we just give work to the children and we hardly bother to correct that work. We hardly even bother to read what the child has written. Now, this is very essential. Until and unless you give your feedback, how you have performed or how you have attempted to the question, the child will not understand where he is defaulting. He will not understand कि प्रॉब्लम है कहाँ, मैं क्या नहीं कर रहा हूँ जिसकी वजह से मार्क्स नहीं आ रहे हैं. तो ये टाइमली फीडबैक एंड असेसमेंट हैज टू गो फ्रॉम टीचर्स साइड. It has to be on time. One day you've given the assignment, the next day it has to be corrected, and the child has to be told that there and there, or this is the problem that you're lacking to gain or get marks. So instruction strategies have to be very clear in the class. I'm unable to go on the next slide. I don't know why. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yeah. So the big five I would like to surely discuss. There are certain types of instructions. Uh, Direct instructions, indirect instructions, experimental, collaborations, and individual study. Now, all these big fives have to be practiced in the class. First thing, what we start with is the direct instruction. We give formal lecture in the class. We use smart boards. We use tutorials. We use worksheets, handouts, informal lectures, movies, drill programs, and practices. We use all these things to give direct instructions. But these are not enough. You need to ascertain that the child has understood to which level. Now, indirect instructions, what are indirect instructions? Case studies. They will definitely help a child to uh, formulate decision making. And how they're going to do this, we have studied the needs, learning needs. So how they're going to do this, the case studies and other things, you need to make sure that they are using computers. They are their inquiry is guided by the teacher. Then they can also use one more method, that is concept and mind mapping. Usually this mind mapping is done as in theory subjects. We ask the children to prepare a mind map of what they've understood in the notebook or in the file, and there are children who do it beautifully. So this is again a kind of indirect instruction. Unguided inquiry, what they do themselves, which is not guided by the teacher. And then there are projects. Usually these days the trend is that projects should be given during holidays so that the child gets enough time to do research. But do you think they actually do research? If you give these projects during holidays, they don't do any sort of research. They'll just go Google and they'll do everything. The projects are ready, the printouts are ready. So you need to, though we say that unguided projects can be there, but the projects have to be always guided. Make sure that indirect the instruction also includes the supervision. Next is the experimental, where you take the help of skits, where you take the help of field observations, discovery, work experience. These surveys are conducted. Individual studies include self-study, report writing, self-study of books, homework, journal writing, workbooks using library. These all will come under individual study. And collaborations, of course, there are group activities, paired think activities in this kind of teaching. There are we divide the children into certain groups depending upon the number of children present in the class, and we give them certain topic, and they are expected to prepare the whatever topic they've been given. So these are the five big fives which should be included in teaching. Now, coming to the other aspect of today's webinar, building relationships. Now, how do you build relationship? Definitely communication is the first thing. You need to be openly communicating with the children about day-to-day things, what are happening in their life. Sometimes the teacher might be discussing in a jolly mood, her own or his own personal life. So communication channels have to be built up in the classroom to promote healthy relationship between teacher and a student. Then personalized attention should be given to children. If you have 60 students in a class, it becomes really difficult for a single teacher. Like we could watch a short clip of on the YouTube, or the link I had opened just now in the webinar. Like one teacher in the class and 60 students, it becomes really a very difficult job for that person to handle the classroom, and you can't give that personalized attention. So make sure you have a limited number of children to pay attention to, and you you have to give that personal attention to every child. Inclusive environment has to be built in the class. Parent engagement has to be sorted for sure. And trust, the most important, trust has to be built up among the children. I'll be rushing up with these slides because the time is running. Now, what is the key to build this strong relationship? You can't do it all alone. There has to be a hand given by the parent, there has to be a hand given by the student. So, a genuine interest has to be shown by the child and by the teacher, and it has to be among the colleagues also. So, how would you do it? While you are in a teaching community, you are sitting in the staff room, आप staff room में बैठे हो और आपके साथ 50 teachers और बैठे हैं, but one teacher is jealous of you. Can you imagine the type of negativity it creates around you and around others? It becomes really difficult to breathe in that environment. So you have to build up that positive environment among your community also. Then only you'll be able to spread that positivity among your students. Now, इतनी सारी चीजें हमें करनी है, तो what is utmost, the most important thing is self care. You have to take care of your own mental health. Stress level is not only among children, stress level is at the peak in the teacher's life, because you are managing 101 things at a time. So self care is the most important thing. You take care of yourself first, and the rest would surely would be taken care of. So please understand that first thing starts is your own care, then the others come. So prioritize physical and mental well-being. For that, you should exercise, meditate. I know you might not be getting time. Even I don't get time. But 5 minutes is enough. When you get up from your bed, 5 minutes in the morning itself, just close your eyes and meditate and just reflect what you're going to do or what you did yesterday. That would be enough. And if you are in problem, if you feel you're breaking down, just seek support. It's not that बच्चों को ही सिर्फ एक psychiatrist की जरूरत पड़ती है. We also sometimes need that support. So please ask for, don't hesitate, please ask for that support. Now set boundaries and manage workload. I work 24/7, but there are certain boundaries. Okay, after 10 o'clock, I would not attend, I would not open my WhatsApp group. I'm sorry, after 10, that's enough. I've given 7 to 10 time. Now there has to be certain time for yourself, me time. So set boundaries and set aside, manage your workload. That would surely help to lower down these stress. Engage in professional development like you're doing now. Attend workshops, attend webinars. Try to be yourself. You try take a step forward and try to be resource person if possible. Try to speak to people. Attend conferences, online courses. That would not only add to your professional achievements, that would also help in your growth. Seek support from colleagues and mentors. Build a support network for sure, because that would surely help in your keeping yourself healthy. That would surely help in that. Keep educating yourself. Again, I'm saying how to stay ahead of the curve. Now, there is a set curve in every line, in every profession. You have to set your own strategies. You have to set your own targets to stay ahead of the curve. It's not that I've completed my master's, I've completed my PhD, and now it's done. Education never ends. Learning never ends. We all are co-learners. I'm learning, you are learning. So if you want to keep yourself ahead of the curve, You keep learning. That's the only key. Keep educating yourself. That is the key. Okay. Very important and interesting. Professional growth. Everybody speaks about this, everybody talks about this, but nobody does it. Now, it's a journey. I understand teaching is a journey through life's fog. Share your experience on your teaching blog. I have listed certain blogs here. You can take a note of it, you can take a screenshot. Trust me, write your experiences here, write your observations here. Short ones would also help. They would not only help you to learn more, they would also help you to grow professionally. There are certain websites here: Teach Thought, EdSearch, Education Week, the Teachers Lounge, the Educators Room. These all are the websites available for writing blogs. Trust me, my friends, writing blogs is surely going to help you. I've not started doing it, but I do write my diaries, I do write my articles, I do write certain reports. I am into writing. So I know I'm soon going to start, but while I was studying and while I was researching for this webinar, I came through this and I found it really interesting. I'm going to start, and I'm sure that you would also find it interesting. And please start writing something. It would also improve many things in your life. Last but not the least, how to crack job interviews. When I had gone for my first interview, I was really hesitant. I was shivering, I was jittery. I didn't know what the questions would be from the interviewer, and how I'm going to answer those questions. तो मैं भी ऐसे nails rub कर रही थी. I was biting my nails, and I was, legs पूरे shiver कर रहे थे, and I was very jittery. So first, Gandhi has clearly said, first fight with your fears, then only you'll be able to conquer the world. So be confident. This is what you have to learn very. There are certain parents, sorry, I'm breaking my statement, but I want to mention this here before ending. There are certain parents, बहुत सारे हम PTMs करते हैं, तो parents आते हैं कि मेरा बच्चा बोलता नहीं है, he's not a good public speaker. He wants to give speeches. मैं एक ही चीज बताती हूँ. Stand in front of mirror. Look at yourself. Look into your own eyes before facing the people. Speak to yourself. Talk to yourself, because you are the most important person. Once you start talking to yourself, you will be able to talk to the world. Believe me, you'll be able to do it, because I have learned doing it this way. So be confident and enthusiastic. I've given you a key how to develop that confidence for sure. I am taking it as you will follow it. And show passion for your teaching and learning. When you're being interviewed, you should show you that passion, that you are a passionate teacher. It's not that you're doing it for time pass or you're doing it for salary. No, sorry, no one would appoint you if you are just doing it for salary and you don't have passion for teaching. You have to be passionate, you have to be loving, you have to be caring to become a teacher, and you have to show that to the interviewer. Next is highlight your teaching skills. Even when you're drafting your CV, please highlight your teaching skills and experiences. It's not that listing that I've had experience of 20 years. That's not enough. 20 years सिर्फ लिख देने से काम नहीं चलेगा. 20 years में आपने किया क्या है, experiences क्या क्या है आपके. You need to focus on that. Specific examples, teaching practices में आपको definitely लेने ही होंगे, देने होंगे जब आप इंटरव्यू फेस करेंगे, कि आपने टीचिंग प्रैक्टिस करते समय आपने क्या क्या चीजें ऑब्जर्व करी है या लर्न करी है. Then child pedagogy, definitely curriculum is important. You should know about the institution, about the curriculum they are following, and about the syllabus, definitely, of the class you're gonna interview for. Willingness to adapt and learn, most important, कि आप उस माहौल में ढल जाएंगे. You need to show that to the interviewer. Positive body language and tone is important. And ask thoughtful questions during the interview, not useless questions. Thoughtful questions should be asked to the interviewer. That's all from my side. I am ready to take if any questions are there.
Please ask questions. You can also ask in the chat box.
Yes. Any questions? I hope the session was useful. You could learn a little bit. बूंद बूंद से खड़ा पड़ता है. You will definitely succeed.
There are no questions, ma'am. Thank you. There is one. Please ask.
Yes, Ananta ma'am,
Ma'am,
please ask.
yes, ma'am. I just wanted to, good evening, ma'am. Just wanted to ask, ma'am, that if suppose in a class, you know, even if there are certain topics, like I'm an English teacher, and there are certain topics where you need to go in a flow because it is a very talkative class at grade 11 and it's very, very talkative. So the moment you make one child quiet, the other one will speak, and then there is no flow. For an example, I'm teaching them the uh, format of debate, and I'm giving instructions for a good 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm asking them one or two questions in the middle, but then how to make it little interesting for those students who are not into too much into learning.
See, instead of you asking questions, just give introduction. If you are conducting a debate based on a chapter, there are value-based CBSE especially focuses on value-based. You trying to say something,
Yes,
Ananta
ma'am.
ma'am? Yeah.
No, 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 ma'am. No, no, ma'am. I was just replying a yes and no. Sorry, I'll
Okay.
mute myself. You continue.
Yeah. Yes. So if you're preparing or you're planning a debate in the class based on a particular lesson, you pick out the value which is hidden in that lesson because CBSE definitely focuses on the value-based chapters. Now, the silent ones in the class, they are a problem because they don't participate. You're talking about that only. If I've taken your question right, they are the. I hope I've
Yes, ma'am.
taken.
And they feel boring, and most of the time they sleep.
Yeah. So suppose it's a group of 30 and you have created five groups, and each group should have that silent child. I mean, divide the silent children in equally among all the groups, and the silent one should be given the responsibility of framing questions. Rest of the children, okay, he's shy to speak, but at least he'll speak to ask questions to the rest of the groups, and he would be able to answer to those questions because he has framed the questions based on the research of others. Other four have done the research and this one has framed the questions, so he would be asking the questions but he has heard to the research done by other four, so he has definitely benefited. Being silent also, he has got that benefit of understanding. Now he would be able to put forward the questions, the children would be answering. Now he becomes responsive to take the answers whether they are right or wrong, and in this manner he becomes active in that group. Are you getting it? So this is what I do in my class. Definitely everybody, all the teachers have these kind of children in class, and it becomes really difficult to make them speak. So give them a particular task that you are responsible to do it. They will not sit silently and idle in the group for sure.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, Ananta ma'am.
Is there any other question?
Priyank Kumar, sir, you've been asking that, okay, uh, cracking interview, I understand. Recently, I've come across a person who wanted to interview in teaching line, but was not good in English. He was not fluent in English. Now, the problem is, English is not about speaking big, big words. English is about framing simple, correct sentences. Even if you speak wrong English, please speak. If I share my own experience, you would be shocked that I'm able to speak this much. uh, when I was in grade 3 or 4, all of a sudden I was shifted to Bangalore, to Baldwin Girls High School, from a government school to Baldwin Girls High School in Bangalore. And I was in a Hindi medium school, and now completely in English medium school. I didn't even know how to say what's your name. I used to say what is your name in a proper Desi style. But I had one teacher, Miss Jayalakshmi. She told me, Mamta, keep speaking, keep speaking. That would only improve and that would give you fruits. And today, where I am, it's been 20 years. I'm into teaching. 15 years I'm teaching only English, and this is how I've learned. So keep reading, keep speaking. That would surely help you to crack interviews. That would surely help you to build up your own confidence. Priyank sir, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. Listen to audio tapes, that will help you. Listen to, though you might not understand many of English movies, but watch them. 3-4 words तो समझ में आएंगे, उनका pronunciation तो समझ में आएगा, and that would be really great achievement. Initially, that would be great achievement.
Is there any other
Yes.
question?
Uh, Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
मैम मैं एक स्कूल में पढ़ाता हूँ जहाँ के बच्चे एक ऐसे तबके से आते हैं जिनके फादर्स मदर्स सारे वर्कर्स हैं और जिनकी आमदनी ऐसे चलती है कि अगर सुबह कमाओ तो ही शाम को खाने को मिलेगा।
Okay.
उन बच्चों के साथ एक दिक्कत बहुत ज्यादा है कि वो बहुत ज्यादा absent रहते हैं।
Mm-hmm.
इस चीज को कैसे फिक्स किया जा सकता है?
सर आप क्लासेस इंटरेस्टिंग बना दीजिए ना, उनके काम से ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग बना दीजिए क्लासेस को। एक्टिविटी बेस्ड लर्निंग ज्यादा कर दीजिए, बच्चे अपने आप अट्रैक्ट होकर आएंगे। उन्हें जब मजा आने लगेगा क्लास पढ़ने में, किताबें नहीं पढ़नी है, एक्टिविटी से सीखना है। भाई हम चैप्टर्स क्यों पढ़ाते हैं? अगर मैं 10th का एक चैप्टर ले लूं, अगर मैं भोली एक चैप्टर है इंग्लिश में, वो नेग्लेक्टेड चाइल्ड जिसकी लाइफ एक टीचर ने बदल दी थी, उस बच्ची को बोलना भी नहीं आता था, टीचर ने बदल दी थी, सिर्फ उसको सिर्फ एक बोलने पे स्ट्रेस करने की, नहीं तुम लिखो, तुम मुझे नोट करके मत बताओ, जेस्चर से मत बताओ, तुम बोलो। तो आप अगर अपनी क्लास को इंटरेस्टिंग बना देंगे सिर्फ एक्टिविटीज पे, तो वो बच्चा अपने आप खिंचा चले आएगा। वो एक्टिविटीज के बीच बीच में आप 3-4 लाइन पढ़ा दीजिए, पता भी नहीं लगेगा कि पढ़ाई हो गई। तो बच्चा व्हाट डज अ चाइल्ड वांट? चाइल्ड लुक्स फॉर फन ऑल द टाइम। उन्हें मस्ती चाहिए। जिस तबके की आप बात कर रहे हैं जहां से बच्चे आते हैं, उनको सुबह कमाकर शाम को घर लाना है, तभी उनका परिवार चलेगा। ठीक है, मैं समझती हूँ, उनके उनके जज्बे को भी समझती हूँ, बट अगर वो 1 घंटा थोड़ा सा उनको ये समझ में आ गया कि नहीं, यहाँ हमें मजा आता है जाकर, ये सिर्फ किताबों से रिलेटेड नहीं है, यहाँ हम किसी और तरीके से भी सीख सकते हैं, वो बच्चा जरूर खिंचा चला आएगा, फॉर श्योर।
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, there is one question in the chat box.
How could I stop telling lies from children? Why do you tell lies to the children?
Ma'am, can you please ask it again? The question that is there in the chat box.
Yeah, the question is, how could I stop telling lies from children?
मैम आई थिंक वो ये कहना चाहते हैं कि
बच्चे झूठ बोलते हैं, how to control that?
बचपन में तो हम ये बोल देते हैं कि काली माता आ जाएगी, जुबान काट के ले जाएगी, but these days it is definitely very difficult to tell children not to indulge into lies, but of course कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस बताए जा सकते हैं। हम सब अगर देहरादून के हैं तो बहुत ही रिसेंट अभी ओएनजीसी वाला इंसिडेंट हमने देखा ही है कि झूठ बोलकर पेरेंट्स कहाँ तक पहुंच सकते हैं। तो बच्चा एकदम तो नहीं समझेगा, बट एवरी डे इफ वी एम्फसाइज ऑन द सेम थिंग कि कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस कैन बी दिस डेंजरस, द चाइल्ड वुड श्योरली अंडरस्टैंड। एंड ये झूठ बोलने की आदत बैकग्राउंड से आ रही है, फैमिली को समझना बहुत जरूरी है इस चीज के, इसलिए जो मैंने की बताई कि पेरेंट्स का इक्वल रोल है यहाँ पे। सो यू नीड टू कोलैबोरेट विद द पेरेंट and you have to both ways. The emphasis should be from both the sides, from parent and from the teacher. Teacher alone can't do it. There has to be cooperation from the parent. Then only you can stop it. Any other question?
Thank you, ma'am, for the session. I think all the questions are now done. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, ma'am, once again.
Thank you so much for giving me this platform. Thank you, everyone, for joining and paying attention. Thank you, sir.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. I would just like to share one more opportunity at our organization. As I told that we are involved in research, so I'm sharing our research portal. This is the new portal that we have just started. You have to type this link research at yuvaangurukul.com, and this is our new research portal. We have just started it, and what we are doing is we are publishing research papers on this portal. So first we used to publish our research on different research papers, but now we are running our own research paper or our own research platform. So we do research on different topics, and as I told in the starting of this webinar, that our research it focus on two things. First is educational excellence, and second is health and wellness. And this health and wellness is regarding the students only, the children only. So we publish different research on our portal. And if you would like to join as co-author or as author for any research, you can connect with me. We have different research papers that we are working on right now. So we need teachers who can associate with us, conduct some surveys in the school, and uh, share some information, some insights, so that we can make our research more authentic. So if you wish to join any of the research program, you can connect with me. My number I already posted, 9557564442, and it's also there in the group. So thank you everyone for joining. Mamta ma'am, thank you for the session, and please connect with me on WhatsApp. We will share the certificates by end of the day. Before 9:30 p.m. we will share all the certificates.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you everyone. Thank you.